Hello, welcome to the Health In Show, an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. You've come to the right place to tune in and participate with your comments and questions. Love is the greatest healer of all. But sometimes, in order to change our emotions, we must take action in other spheres of our lives. We speak with experts in alternative and complementary health fields and hope you will benefit in some small or great way. Remember, you are wherever your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Health In Show. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and I am delighted to be here as I am each and every month that we get to come together and continue the legacy of Debbie Brooke, the founder of Homeopathy World Community. And I just want to, before we actually go on with the show, I just want to say that recently had an opportunity to go to Debbie's youngest daughter's wedding ceremony. And it was so extraordinary that her son, I know you heard Debbie's voice in the beginning of our show, which we play every time we do this show because she is the founder and she is it. She's our legacy. And so, she died 5 years ago, which is hard to believe. But what was so interesting at the ceremony was that her son Isaac got up and had gone through the internet and pulled pieces of videos that Debbie had done and took some of her phrases. And one of the ones that he chose was, "Love is the greatest healer of all." And I have to tell you, my tears started falling because I knew exactly where it came from. And it was such an honor for him to do that. And Debbie filled the room as she does here each and every month. So we know she's here and we know she's part of the show always. And so I want to say, Debbie, so with that, we're excited. This is a very interesting show and it's a topic that I so love and have loved for so many years. So I want to say hi to Deepak. Good morning. Are you all connected?
Yeah.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Malin, and hello, Tara. Hello, Director Weber, sir. So this is really fantastic that you are connecting with the Debbie and Debbie's family. She's every time with us. Her blessings are with us. So this is wonderful. And nice to hear you about Debbie's family. So please
And
continue. Yeah.
I'm gonna introduce Uta, and she's gonna introduce our guest. And this subject, unbeknownst to Uta and anybody, was a really interesting subject for Debbie. She and I would talk about this subject. And if you hear me cry, it's because I don't know. She's the only person I continue crying for always when at this moment. But anyway, she's with us especially today. And so please feel free at all if you want to comment, ask questions. We have we have a chat room. Put your name under the video, and you can ask questions, comment, whatever you like in our chat. You can contact us on our phone, and that will go directly into the studio, and that's 919-518-9773. And you can also join us on Skype at computers, and that's plural, then the number 2K voice. You will come in on voice, not video. We'd love to have you. If you are so inclined to share, and if this information moves you, as it always does move me, please join us. So with that, Uta, my love, hey.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited to be here today because this is also a topic that, as you already said, is close to my heart. I think for us homeopaths, it is a topic that will always be interesting. So I'm excited. We have Dieter Weber with us today. He's trained in various areas of technology, but has found his passion in water. So I have learned. So hello,
Right.
Dieter. How are you today?
Hello, everybody who is watching. I'm very good. I'm very fine, and I'm really excited to be here.
Wonderful. So let's dive right in. What has made you so passionate about water?
Well, it all started about 15 years ago. I had hay fever for about 27 years. And somebody told me about water in the body, water and health. And I listened to a few things and I thought, okay, it makes sense. So I try it. So I started to drink pure water. Now, when we talk about pure water, everybody takes water in a bottle or out of the tap or something and looks at it. It looks clear. Yeah, it's pure. No, unfortunately not. There's still a lot of substances in there, millions of them. And when I started to drink pure water, that hay fever diminished. So, like I said, 27 years, every summer I had to suffer through hay fever. At the very beginning, I took pharmaceutical pills and tried to depress it, but they made me tired. And I thought, no, I can't use that because in all my jobs, I had to travel a lot and being tired doesn't make sense. So I was so happy, so glad to find that pure water, so I got rid of my hay fever. And I want to mention as well, my son, when he was 2, 3 years old, he started to get hay fever too. And it was terrible for him. Now, of course, going to schools, and we didn't want him with that hay fever, so we gave him pharmaceutical things again, which I don't like at all. Sorry. But he started to drink that water too, and that was in March, end of March. And end of April, beginning of May, his hay fever usually starts. But this year, nothing. We waited, end of April, May, June, nothing happened. So that was amazing. That's all I thought, okay, I have to do something about it. And that was, at that time, was just pure water. And that already helped me. And a friend of mine, he had fantastic ideas in that area. He worked with water for a long time, already for 10, 11 years. And he decided we built an own product. It's not just purified water, but you, in your area, you know exactly how important the information, the wavelength, the frequency in all things is, and the same in water. Now, I think a lot of people know about that Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto, and he found out that water has got a memory. Secrets of Water, all his books are based on water, on the frequency in waters. So I experienced, okay, not only the purification works, but also the structure, crystalline structure in the water.
So may I interject just one moment? Would you like to, just for our listeners, clarify what you mean by pure water as opposed to normal water? Because I think that's where the crux is, that we actually have to understand that water is not the same as water. I mean, we have about 1% of the Earth's water that is potable. So we have 99% that cannot be consumed by humans, just like it is. So perhaps, would you like to just give us a bit of an introduction into what you exactly mean when you mention pure water as opposed to other water or normal water?
Yes, of course. I think everybody knows most of the water on our planet is salt water in the oceans. And I think as well, everybody knows that's not drinkable, at least not big amounts of that. And you take a glass of salt water out from the ocean and you look at it and you don't see the salt in it. Maybe there's some other things in there you can see, but not the salt. So when you look at it, it looks pure and clean. But we know there's salt in it. And not just salt, there's a lot of other things in there as well. So there are various ways how these things can get removed in the water. Now, we looked in the nature. What is the nature doing to clean water? Even the water in the oceans. It goes up in the air, it builds clouds. In the clouds, the water is perfectly pure and clean. Then it comes down, still very clean. Now, okay, yeah, we have some pollution in the air. But still, rainwater is one of the best. I think everybody knows every animal, every dog, every cat, they drink rainwater. So that's what I mean. And the nature is doing it by itself. We can't do anything about it. Now, there are ways to do that too, mechanically remove the things in the water. I think everybody heard about distilled water. There are systems where you cook the water and the vapor you can catch, and it's very pure. Now, against the Western medical practitioners, most of them, yes, you can drink pure distilled water. But what I always mention in my presentations, don't drink the water that you buy for your iron or anything else. That is not the purity that we need. But like I said, if you cook, you put water in a pot, you cook it, and then you take off the lid and you see there are drops of water on top. That is distilled water. And you can drink it.
So you can drink the water. Can you drink the water once you boil it? Does that make it pure or not?
No, if you just boil it, it might kill germs and bacteria, but it doesn't take all the rest out of it. Like, say again, salt water. The salt doesn't disappear because you cook it.
Uh-huh. So the pure water that you're referring to is rainwater.
Rainwater, that's in nature.
In nature.
Now, human beings developed some mechanics to remove the things in the water as well. Because, of course, you can go outside when it's raining, open your mouth and wait for enough water to get in. I think that's not the perfect thing to do.
So I have a question for you.
Mhm.
And the question I'm going to ask may be too early of a question to ask in this moment. And if it is, just tell me and we'll hold the question.
No problem.
You mentioned that you and your son both had hay fever, correct?
Right.
And my question, so based on Emoto's work, which just letting everybody know, I interviewed him before and did a little bit of a study about his work. And you live in Portugal, correct?
Right.
So is Portugal, because based on his work, water, how we utilize water depends on where it's from. The water in Portugal is going to be different than the water in France. The water in France is different than the way it is wherever you are. Is there a lot of hay fever in Portugal?
Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe Uta knows more about that. But,
I'm afraid I don't.
Because I'm wondering if the water, you use rainwater, correct?
Right.
And he would go through a process with the water, but it still was different. The energy of the water was different depending on where the water was birthed. So I'm just curious if there's, if the water in Portugal is special for what you used it for, and maybe that's not adequate or a good enough question, but I'm just curious.
No, there's no difference. The rainwater is the same all over the world. It doesn't change. The country, the continent, rainwater is always rainwater. It's very clean. Now, of course, what you get out of your tap from the water supplies, that might change because in every country there's different materials that is to be used. And especially Emoto, he found out the memory in the water. Water stores every frequency of every substance it comes in contact with. And it's still in that water. So that's why water in Portugal might be different than water in the US. But just because of the materials or the stones, the sand the water is running through before you can get it out of your tap.
And when you did what you did with hay fever, and have you also discovered through your work that the rainwater that you're talking about has cured other forms of allergies or other types of symptoms or other things in your experience that you've noticed?
No, I think there's no real study about that because only very few people drink pure rainwater. Of course, you can catch it somehow. You can put out a bucket outside when it's raining and get the water, but most people don't drink it. And if somebody gets the idea to do that, I would always recommend to boil it before to kill off germs and bacteria in that. But as I said, I don't think there are too many people that drink rainwater. Or maybe, I don't know, in some other countries, African countries or wherever, or where they don't have access to tap water like we all have, maybe they do that. They catch the rainwater and drink it. And now I didn't do any studies about
So,
any allergies in Africa or so.
Mhm.
Mhm. So you're highlighting to us that, of course, the quality of the water that we drink is very important. So you mentioned that a friend of yours developed a system by which he can purify the water as such that it has those qualities that you have described as rainwater. So let's hone in onto what health benefits have you come across from the use of water in your work with the water system that you were referring to?
Well, all kinds of things. We have thousands of people now drinking pure water. And well, like I said, the purification is just one part of it. The structure in the water is important as well. The energy in the water is important as well. I heard a lot of people with high blood pressure. They drink enough good water, the blood pressure goes down. Any kind of allergies, doesn't matter if it is in the skin or food allergies or whatever, it's not guaranteed. So every human being is different. But I recommend everybody to try it at least. Before I take any pharmaceutical products, I would drink some water. Now, unfortunately, as I mentioned before, especially in the western part of the world, I think sometimes it's terrible. Of course, the universities, the medical universities, they are sponsored by the pharma industry. And so they teach, okay, if you have a problem, take a pill. That's easy. How many people take a pill when they have a headache? Who gets the idea, before I take a pill, I drink maybe 1 or 2 glasses of water? Because most headaches, not every, but most of them, they stem from lack of water in the brain. That's what causes headaches most of the time. So I recommend try it. Whoever is listening, when you have a headache, try 1 or 2 glasses of water. And if it's especially good water, clean water, even better. But any water would help in that case.
Yeah, we are, as human beings, made up of about 75% of water. So
Right.
it's a very good idea to exchange that water occasionally. So what according to your experience, if we want to use water to improve our health or to maintain our health, is it the 3 liters a day that we should be drinking and consuming to keep our systems running? And as you just mentioned, for the headaches, drinking water to try and get rid of the headache is a very simple and a very good way to move forward.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on the quantity? And I mean, we are talking about quality of water. So what about the quantity of water, generally speaking, would you say that we should be consuming?
Well, the mentioned 3 liters that you did, it's a good amount. A lot of people say, oh, I can't drink water. They drink all kind of other things. I'm not against any other drink. That's fine. I have a coffee in the morning, no problem. But apart from that, I have to drink enough water. Now, 2 liters is kind of a minimum, I think, because even overnight, we lose about 1 liter of water by breathing, by sweating. So about 1 liter in our body we lose overnight, and in the morning we have to replenish it. And like I said, I have a coffee too, but that coffee doesn't replenish my water supply. So I drink enough water too. And now there were studies some years ago when there was in the media that coffee is not good, that coffee takes out the water out of your body. Now, very shortly after, there was a study done that said, no, that's not right. And like me, a lot of people thought, hey, what's going on now? Is coffee good or is coffee not good? Does it give you any water for your body or not? And we found out that study that said water is good for your body, that was paid by Chibo, coffee company. So of course, the expert had to write something that coffee is good. But it's not true. Sorry. I think everybody knows you drink a lot of coffee, you have to go to the toilet very often. So it just takes the water out of your body. And if you drink coffee, it's a good idea to have a glass of water to the side of it. Drink water as well. And like I said, a minimum of 2 liters.
You know what?
Pure
I
water.
have stomach like issues and some reflux, whatever. Water is my best friend. I mean, if I have to have water with me. It's almost like I'm addicted to it. When I'm having like some gassiness, it's the only thing that helps me like that.
Good.
Just take a sip or two, and it helps. It washes it away. And I'm a bad case. That's how powerful water is.
Do you pay attention to the kind of water you drink?
Not until now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, really, I take it out of my freezer, which I mean has a filter, but not until now.
Okay.
I'm
Maybe we have to
fascinated
talk
by
about
this.
it.
Huh?
Maybe we have to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated. I knew myself that the water I was taking was good, and it may be better than nothing. But
Right.
now what you're saying even makes me want to up my quality of water.
Yes, of course. It's any water is better than Coca-Cola, beer, wine, or whatsoever, coffee. Every kind of water is better than that. And the better the water gets, the purer it is, the better structured it is, the more energy is in the water. Perfect. I think, especially in your community, you know about Ayurveda. And Ayurveda recommends to boil the water. Now, it's not only to kill germs and bacteria, but because if you boil water, it bubbles. So there's a movement in the water, and that gives an energy to it. Anybody who has been in mountains somewhere and drank out of a mountain spring, the water, you feel it's different. It gives you more energy because it's moving. It's not still water. You take a glass of water, you put it on the table, let it sit there for 3 days, and then you taste it. It tastes awful because there's no energy in it. You take a spoon, you steer it around for 5 minutes, taste it again, it's different. There's more energy in it. So there are different factors that determine how good the water is, how good it is for your body.
Deepak,
Can you tell us?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No,
Go on.
Deepak,
Yes.
did you have a question?
So,
'Cause we've been
yes,
like
yes,
talking
this
over
is-
you,
this
through
is-
you, whatever.
This is a wonderful topic, and we are discussing about the future costliest things because drinking water will be the costliest in the future because the pure water is not available. As Sally said, the rainwater is the purest one, but in many countries like that, we have no rains. Like in India, in Delhi, we have the rainfalls only maximum for the 2 or 3 months. So we are not having the enough rainwater. But what is actually about the water and the water memory? I'm really thankful to you, sir, that you are mentioning about the Ayurvedic concept of the water. That is containing about the water memory, and in our every science, even the medical doctors are saying that the tablet is taking with the water. They never told that you are taking with the cold drinks or you are taking the tablet with the coffee, you are taking the tablet with the any other juices. They are always say that tablet should be taken with the water. So water is having the energy, and in future, what the study says, in future, maybe the many country having the fight in between the drinking water just because of the drinking water. So
Yeah.
drinking water is just a biggest issue. Yes, I agree with the sir. Many of the pharmacological industries are making different kind of water, but this is not actually a pure water that I think sir want to explain. So in Ayurved concept, we already have a kind of structure of our bowl to store the water for the drinking. I will show you in just a few minutes after this discussion that what kind of the buckets we are using for the drinking water. So every kind of water, even when we are giving the homeopathic medication, like we are giving the arsenic album 30 or Rhenia 30, what we are choosing the best drinking water and a single drop effect very well if your water is the pure. Uh, Purity of water is really a big issue for every country. And in many countries, yes, sir, where rain is available, you can collect the rainwater, but in many countries, you cannot collect the rainwater and you cannot even store the rainwater for many months. So what we are uh, having to explain that, like you were saying that water, when the water is moving, it have energy. You cannot drink the stable water. You cannot drink the water from a pool where the water is stable. But from the river, the water is there having the purest form of the salt. So we need energy. We need energy. So water is not a small thing. Next
Mhm.
point, you are saying that 2 liter or the 3 liter is also a big issue. Many of the patients are coming with us because we they listen on the every social media that you should drink to lose weight for the 2 liter of water or 3 liter of water. You should reduce your diabetes by drinking 2 liter or 3 liter of water. But this is not true because what we are and I understand in my practice, we have a hypothalamus in our brain that is a control center of thirst. And when your body requires, your hypothalamus activates your thirst, and you just drink a water, whatever the thirst is there. If the thirst is for 1 glass, you just sip a 1 glass of water. If the thirst is for 2 glass of water, you just sip a 2 glass of water. Nevertheless, because excess of the water is coming with the flood. What is going
Sorry,
on? If the
I,
excess water is going on, then what is who is suffering? Our kidney are suffering, our liver are suffering. When we are drinking more water or the excess of the water, so do not
Mhm.
need to fix amount. You just listen about your hypothalamus and listen your
Mhm.
brain to put up the thirst. If your body wanting the 1 liter, the 1 liter is
Mhm.
enough. If your body wanting 2.5 liter, then
Mhm.
2.5 liter is enough. So
Mhm.
this is my opinion, sir.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
sorry,
So you're making the point that, sorry, let me just clarify. You're making the point that your body knows what it needs, and it will make you thirsty when you need water, and it will make you thirsty for the exact amount that your body needs. So to fix a
Yes,
number like saying 2 liters or 3 liters is not going to be very helpful, because you can't be that strict in what the body needs, because the body will signal what it needs, and that
yes,
decision
yes.
comes from the hypothalamus and will make you in
Hypothalamus.
turn thirsty for that water. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes,
Uh,
definitely.
Thank you, Dr. Diva. I was the sound was a little bit bad. I could not hear you very clearly.
That was my
This is
problem too.
perfect.
Unfortunately,
You
I
miss
didn't
it.
understand everything because the quality wasn't very good. So, but I hope I got the major part of it. I just want to point out on the thirst that your body is signaling you. I don't know if you heard of that guy, Batman Gelic. He was a Persian person, a doctor, and when there was a revolution in Iran, he was imprisoned. And in the prison, he didn't have anything to treat the people there. So he gave them water. And he cured a lot of things, a lot of problems with the inmates in the prison. And he wrote several books. One was already mentioned by Dr. Pollack in one of your interviews. And one of the books that I liked very much is You're Not Thirsty, You're Not Sick, You Are Thirsty. And he says, well, it's his opinion, of course, the signal from your body, you are thirsty, is the last one. The last one it gives you, hey, now you better give me something or I get sick. And he says you should replenish some of the water. If it is 2 liters, 3 liters a day, okay. We can discuss about that, but you should drink water even if you're not thirsty, because you lose water all day long by talking, by breathing, by sweating, and that needs to be replenished. Now, I know that a lot of elderly people, they hardly drink anything at all because the things that they give their body is not too good for them. Now, I know there's, especially in Germany, I'm German, of course, especially in Germany, in the elderly homes or even in some hospitals, they give some water bottles to people that is terrible. It's really terrible. I had a sip of one of them. It's like salt water. You drink salt water out of the ocean. So, and then they say, here, drink it. But my grandpa, my grandmother, they said, oh, no, I don't want to drink. I understood because that's not what I want. It tastes awful. So my experience in the last 14, 15 years, give people good water to drink and they automatically drink more by themselves.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Well, it's just a real
Go
quick, and maybe this is more for you and Deepak, because Dieter, you're not a homeopath, right? Or are you?
No, I'm not.
So when you take the energy of the water that Dieter is talking about, and you put it with a remedy of some sort, do the energies just find themselves? Do they match? Do they meet? Do they welcome each other? I mean, what happens with the energy of a remedy and the energy of good water, knowing that water has memory and all of these things? How do you combine that? How do you talk about that?
Well, the interesting thing is that since homeopathy is the action mechanism hasn't yet been scientifically proven, so the theory that we use as our explanation for homeopathy is that water has memory. And if you create a homeopathic remedy, you dilute and succuss. That's the main principle. You have a remedy, and you're making a remedy. You put 1 drop of a substance to, for example, in a C potency to 99 drops of a carrier, which could be the water, and then you dynamize it by shaking this substance. And this process is set to extract the information of that 1 drop of remedy substance, and is supposed to imprint that on the water molecules and the water structure. And that's the basic, very simplified, explained, is the principle that we have underlying the homeopathic dilution and potentization process. So this is what we're referring to when we're talking about water has memory, because that information is imprinted. So this is a very important topic when we talk about water and about this energization, this structurization that he's referring to. So the two go together in homeopathy very interestingly, and we are getting closer to actually proving how homeopathy works and how these remedies, or how the carrier substance carries the information of these remedies. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. So knowing that water gets structurized, or that water is energized, is part of what makes homeopathy. And it's so interesting to see what you're saying, Dieter, that there's different types of water. There's this stale water that has been staying on the table for days and hasn't been dynamized, hasn't received any energy. And then you have the river water that has been moving, that has received this dynamic from all the rocks it has passed, from all the flow that's going on. So that's where the difference lies in water. So water is not the same as water, and you can actually taste it, as you very well said just now, in what you described in the care homes for elderly, having a type of water that's not very tasty. Maybe it's that it's not energized, that it's not dynamized. I don't exactly know. I wouldn't vouch for what I'm saying here for the care homes. But generally speaking, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about energizing water. So when you're describing this structure, how do you, to hone in a little bit on how you're coming in with this friend of yours who's developed this product that structurizes the water, energizes the water. Give us a little insight on that so we can understand what you're talking about when you're referring to your type of water that has a certain structure, as opposed to the stale water or the water that we have when we open our taps.
Okay, sure. I just want to come back shortly to what you said right now. Now, of course, the structure, you can move the structure from one water to the other, no problem. But the energy, that's a little bit different, because the energy comes from moving in the water. Like, as I said before, you let a glass of water stand, you take a spoon, you steer it around for a while, or you take an electric mixer and put it in there, and you feel the energy in it. So that's a different story. Now, by putting a structure in the water, a lot of people I know, they put some kind of crystals in the water, quartz crystals. They put in the water, and the water takes that structure of these crystals, and they form the water molecules right after that. And the best structure we know is a hexagonal structure. And now that can be made by crystals, some kind of quartz, or as another Japanese invention, somebody in Japan found out that effective microorganism is structuring the water. Now, you can clean the water as good as you want, but the information of any other material, plastics, or whatever it is still in the water. And if you look at a crystal or at the water structure, when it's frozen, and that's what Masaru Emoto did, you can see that there's no clean structure in it. Now, that effective microorganism is able to take all the other frequencies, the other information out of that water, and put a very good hexagonal structure in the water molecules. And that's a perfect thing. It wasn't invented for that. It was just a side business that somebody found out. It doesn't just work in agriculture. It works in water as well. It removes every frequency, every information from that water. And that's very important. And you don't have that plastic energy anymore. And I think everybody knows, in most countries, you buy plastic bottles of water, and I did that too before I learned about it. And nowadays, I don't drink any plastic water at all. Never. And if you have very clean water and already structured water, don't ever get the idea to put it in a plastic bottle or plastic cup or whatsoever. I only use glass. glass or very high standard stainless steel. That's materials that doesn't give any information to the water, that doesn't destroy the structure of the water.
You know, I'm using
So-
this cup, which I think is stainless steel, but now you're making me think. Thank you very much. And I'm thinking about my straw, which is which seems like a plastic straw. So I'm like, I'm learning so much because I do think this is a really good thing, but not so sure about this.
Don't worry too much about it, because I think the water that you have in there is already damaged in the structure.
You're
So
probably right. It is, of course it is.
Yes.
So does it help
this
to
is-
pour your water from a plastic bottle into a glass container and leave it there? And does it change the structure, or does it at the core have to be cleaner water?
yeah, it's too late to pour it from plastic and glass. It's too late. What you can do, pour it in a glass container whatsoever, and put, like I said, some quartz in there. That quartz will be able to give structure to the water. But glass itself, even so it's made out of quartz, but just glass itself won't do that.
What else should we ask you about water that we don't know to ask? What else do you know to tell us about water that we don't even? I mean, water just seems it's so watery. You know, it's just water. But look at what we're doing about. I mean, there's so much about it. Whether it's about sanitation, I mean, there's not enough of it. A lot of it's dirty. You know, I mean, there's so much that we kind of already on the surface know. But what else can you tell us that we don't know?
Well, maybe about the energy. We were talking about the energy, but we didn't go in details with that. I don't know if you heard of that Austrian guy, Victor Schauberger. I pronounce it in German. He was Austrian, Schauberger. I don't know how you would pronounce it. And he was one about 100 years ago, and he found out the energy in water, how important it is. And now there was a time when, especially in Austria, they tried to rectify the creeks and the rivers. They put barriers on the side and wanted the water to run straight through without the stones in there, which actually gives energy to the water. So the water quality was lost. Then he said, okay, let's put in some rocks, some stones, something in there so that the water has to make turns, not just go straight, but make turns. And like I said, like boiling water, bubbles or something like that. And that's very important too. As I mentioned before, you go in the mountain, you go to a mountain spring, you drink the water out of there, you feel the energy because it's, of course, it's been moving a lot. And that makes a big difference too. And that's the three parts that I always say that's the most important parts in water at all: the purification, the structure, and the energy in the water. And I drink it now for 14 years, or a bit longer. Like I said before, it was just clean, pure water. And 14 years, I don't drink any other water than that. And okay, I'm still active, I'm still energized, I'm still working, even though my friends say, hey, you're turning 70 now, you should slow down, calm down, don't do so much. Forget it. I'm moving, I'm working, I'm doing, I have to be active. I don't want to sit still. Maybe it's the water in me.
Yeah, well, maybe it is.
So the energy.
Really, this is wonderful, and I think the shining of her forehead is just due to your water. So I'm just adding one thing, as I already mentioned that here is a method to bring to store a drink water according to Ayurveda, just in the round shape uh, bottle, and we are also using the glasses like that. Even they are having the round shape at the bottom. So this is actually a Ayurvedic concept where you can store the maximum energy of a water. So what we are doing, we just store in this large bucket and just uh, do it in a glass and then drink the water. Also, they are saying what is the method to drink the water. That is the more important in instead of all things. They are saying when we are in the sitting position, we just take a sip by sip. We are not taking like this that we are taking one glass at a time. No. So just take a sip, and when you are in the sitting position, only the water recommended. When you are standing, the water intake is not recommended according to Ayurveda or Indian ancient culture. So
Wow.
this is from my side.
Thank you.
Wow, that is interesting. I've never heard that before, but that is interesting. So we're only supposed to consume water while we're sitting and not while we're standing. But that is an interesting concept from Ayurveda. Do you know where that comes from? What is your wisdom? Should share it in giving it to your patients or recommending it to your patients, Dr. Deepak?
Yes, yes. I want to explain about this Ayurveda culture because many of our ancient people they are using a very little quantity of water. Like I studied all thing about the water, and since 2016, I just learned how much you water to intake and how the water you should intake. So in the whole day, I am taking only one glass of water like that because my hypothalamus is allowed only to take only a glass of water and like sir, I am just active. I have no diabetes. I have no blood pressure. I have my all readings are okay. So what we are doing just we are taking the water from something from like cereals or we are taking the vegetables. We are taking the water from that. So the water intake from the vegetables is the excellent source of your purest water. So like that, sir is saying the water is the pure water is from the rainwater. What we are saying where the rain is not available, you just take a raw vegetables. They come from they are having the purest form of the water
Mm-hmm.
as per our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
this is
interesting.
actually this is an Ayurvedic culture.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So yes, of course, our vegetables and fruit are great sources of water.
Yes.
Would you agree, Dieter?
Yes, of course, definitely. There's one other thing that I'd like to mention where we talk about fruits or vegetables. A lot of people realize they take care of their health. So they go to a market or somewhere, they buy good food, vegetables, fruits, everything. They spend more money because they think, okay, there's that bio.
Mm-hmm.
Or everybody calls it bio nowadays. And then they go home, they open the water tap and they wash salads and everything under normal water. And that is, in my point of view, it's terrible because in the tap water you have all kinds of things. Lead, and because of old systems, the pipes in houses and everywhere, the type of contamination you put on your salad and on your fruits when you wash it under tap water, I don't want to do that. Now people tell me, I do that for the last 50, 60 years or whatsoever. I'm still healthy. Yeah, okay, I believe so. But the water quality that we get out of our taps, it gets worse and worse, not better.
So the energy in the water can either be positive energy or maybe not so positive energy, right?
That depends more on the structure of it. Like I said, I separate the structure and the energy in water. But yeah, you can get negative information out of water. You can get positive information out of water. That is correct, yes.
So water out of a plastic or not such good water is going to have negative energy no matter what.
Right.
Negative
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
And if all of you out there that are listening to this, you know, the concept of energy is extremely important, and understanding the difference in the energy fields and in the energy in the water. I mean, it always feels better to do good things. When you know it's good, and you apply that quantum physics thing to water, that helps. So how you are also so how you are, the energy that you're living with, or how you are in this second, the energy you're taking in from the water, the energy you're taking in from eating good fruits and vegetables that have good energy from good water, all of it makes a difference.
Right.
Everything's connected.
So one thing that we've learned today is that we should not buy bottled water in plastic bottles. But I'd like to give you a chance to mention, you've been talking about pure water all this time. We don't all have access to pure water. Now, you're working for a company that has developed a system that creates pure water. Give us a quick sum up of what this means and how, if someone's interested, people can find out more.
Yes, of course. There are websites where you can get more information on it. I can give that website, or no, I don't want to mention it here because it would be advertising.
You
But,
can do that. No, you can advertise. It's all right.
everybody can send me an email, ask for more information. That's not a problem. I will answer every email, every request, give a lot of information, whatever is necessary. I give presentations to groups of people, 5, 10, 20 people, or even on the internet, via the internet. I give presentations and explain everything. The 3 things in water that I think is most important, and what some companies do, there are a lot of companies nowadays all over the world that clean water, but they just clean it. And my experience was, by just cleaning it and then let it run through plastic pipes or something, it's not good enough. It helps, but it's not good enough. So that's why this company is using all 3 things: purification, structuring, and energizing the water. And as soon as it is purified, it runs through very high standard stainless steel instead of plastic pipes. And that's important, because what comes out of there, I think, from my point of view, it's the best you can get. So, as I said, if anybody is interested, I'm happy to give my email address. I don't want to give phone numbers here, but email address should be good enough. Everybody can contact me.
That's good. And we have no problem helping you market, because you're here, you're sharing your knowledge, and it's important that we help people with resources as well. So anything, and I'm very appreciative of your being here and sharing all of your knowledge. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
and
Uta,
so
Uta, here is a question from the person who is always in the behind the camera, Mr. Amnan. So, Amnan, if you can ask directly, that will be better. You want to ask any question?
Yeah, I mean, I put it in the chat.
Yes, sure. Yes.
So, Dieter, what about reverse osmosis? Over here, there's a big grocery store that you can go in and you fill up your gallons. It's my wife has glass jugs and she fills it and she uses their reverse osmosis. They have reverse osmosis, they have deionized, and they have high pH that comes out of that one big reverse osmosis machine.
Now, reverse osmosis is another thing besides distilled water to take all the residues out of the water. And reverse osmosis, in some instances, a lot of people say it's not good for you. I must admit, I wouldn't drink any reverse osmosis water if it hasn't been treated afterwards, because it's very clean, and the cleaner the water is, the more it sucks information and chemicals out of the material that gets in contact with. So if you have a reverse osmosis system, it cleans the water perfectly. But then if you let it run through plastic or any other, I would say, cheap material, it would suck the energy, the chemicals, and the information out of that material. So that's why I said I wouldn't drink just reverse osmosis water. But it's a very good way to clean the water, take every residue out of it apart from water. Besides distilling takes a lot of time, energy. So reverse osmosis water is much easier, faster, and cheaper to do.
And what about deionized?
That is because if you have some parts in the water that needs to be deionized. If you don't have anything in it, if you take everything out of that water, you don't need that anymore.
Okay.
And
All
the pH, yes, it's important that you have the correct pH in your water. Now, I don't know if that's known here because pH, it ranges in the neutral way between 6.8 and 7.4, which is ideal. That's the neutral part. It ranges from 0, which is very acidic, and up to 14, which is very base.
Mhm.
So if you put a high pH in water and you drink it constantly, now just imagine that high pH you put in your stomach, and your stomach produces acid, right?
Mhm.
So the higher the pH is that you put in your water, the more acid the stomach has to produce. So I think it's not very good. I think it's
Okay.
even
Yeah.
dangerous to drink water with high pH for a long time. For a short time, perfect. I had a lot of people that had high pH water, and they said, "Oh, I feel so great. I feel fantastic." If you do that to cure something and you drink it for, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months or so, fine. But don't use it forever. That's my experience.
Interesting. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just
So,
ask one little quick? Can I ask one little quick
yeah,
question?
sure.
One little. Are you suggesting we bathe in the same water?
In the pure water? No. No. It would be counterproductive because pure water always tries to dissolve heavy polluted water. So if you bathe in clean water, the water would go in your pores, in your skin, and push everything that you have in your skin deeper into the skin. So that's why people go in salt water, take a saltwater bath, because then the water out of your body tries to dissolve the water in the ocean, the salt water. So it takes all the stuff out of your pores, out of your skin. So you have people go in a mud bath or in an ocean for a long time, or you even put water in your bathtub, just so the things out of your skin come out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
Uta.
Yeah, just one thing you mentioned that if someone's interested and would like to know more, they can contact you. We should have a contact. Do you have an email that you'd like to share live on air?
Yes, of
Or
course.
do you want us to pass anything on?
No, I can share it here. That's no problem.
Okay.
Just my private email. It's Dieter. That is DIETER at WT-Singen SINGEN.com.
Okay. So
From
anybody
there,
that's interested in knowing more from Dieter and his purified water, that's Dieter at WT-SINGEN.com. Thank you very much, Dieter, for being here today. It was an interesting chat. We had some insights into water, which are very important. And we obviously have realized that water is not the same as water, that there are differences and that we should be more aware of them. Thank you very much for being here, Dr. Deepak. Thank you very much for your insight into Ayurveda and the use of water there. It was very interesting. And thank you, Marilyn, for being here with me
thank you.
today to host this.
Thank you.
For anybody interested and wanting to know more what's going on at HWC, come on over to our website. That's homeopathyworldcommunity.com. and check out what we have coming up on the calendar on our website. There's loads of exciting things coming up in the next few months. And we will, of course, be back for another Health In Show next month. Thank you, Amnon. Marilyn, over to you.
Just turned it on mute because of they're mowing the lawn. But anyway, I want to thank everyone so much. This was really interesting, and you know, it's information that we really need to have and understand. So thank you all so much. Amnon, thank you so much, and we'll see you all next month. Bye.
Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.